Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You are recording. Fine. All of you are able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam folio screen. Yeah. Fine. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6. We have already discussed from verse number 1 to 26, and today we'll be discussing from verse number 27 onwards. Canto 3, Chapter 6, verse number 27 onwards. So, if you see in this chapter, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, is referring to the conversation that took place between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. So, being requested by Vidura, Maitreya Muni is explaining about the process of creation, how creation has started by Mahavishnu, and then eventually how things have manifested step by step, one after the other. So, here in the 5th chapter, he spoke about the creation of the 24 elements from material nature. Then those 24 elements, the deities of those elements have offered wonderful prayers to Supreme Lord. Then, being requested by their prayers, they requested the Lord to engage them in his service. So, the Supreme Lord is creating universal form here in this chapter. So, when the elements are prayed, Mahavishnu entered into all the 23 elements as cohesive energy, Vibhush Shakti. So, by that energy, the 23 elements came together. From that combination, there appeared unlimited Brahmandas. So all these empty Brahmandas consisting of only shells in 7 layers, they were all floating on Karana ocean for 1000 celestial years. Then in order to make them alive, Karnodakshaya Vishnu, expanding himself as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entered into each universe. So then, having entered there, he again took rest for 1000 celestial years, Sahasra Parivasaran. So after that, when he desired to create, when he desired to start the universe, start the activities of all the living entities in the universe, there appeared or there manifested the universal form from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So that is being indicated in this chapter. So when Garbhodakshaya Vishnu desired to create universal form, so in the chapter at the beginning it says that Eshahi Asheshi Sattvanam Atma Atmasha Paramatmana Adyo Avatara Yatraso Bhutagramo Vibhavyate. Atmana Paramatmana Adyo Avatara Yatraso. So that means considering Garbhodakshaya Vishnu as Paramatma, the universal form appeared as one of the living entities, Atma, and is considered to be Adyo Avatara, the first avatar, the first personality that had appeared in this material world, who is representing the Supreme Lord. The yogis are recommended to meditate on this universal form in order to purify their contaminated heart. So this meditation process has been described in the 2nd canto, 1st chapter and 2nd chapter. So for their meditation, the universal form has been described elaborately in many chapters of the 2nd canto and 3rd canto also. So this form is considered to be the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Even today also, all over India, people are mesmerized by the concept of universal form. Everyone says is universal form. If something is glorious, they will say that something like that. So then Bhagavatam says that that universal form at the time of the beginning, at the time of the manifestation, it manifested 3 energies. It is mentioned in the 7th verse. Savai Vishwa Srujam Garbo Deva Karmatma Shaktiman. Deva Shakti, Karma Shakti and Atma Shakti. So these 3 energies have been manifested from Hare Krishna. These 3 energies have been manifested from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu as the representatives or are the subsets of the universal form. So last week we mentioned
Hare
that.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm very sorry to interrupt, but Madhvi Gopi called me and she's telling me that tell Prabhuji to take me in the Zoom in the meeting of this Microsoft team. She says it's the host will allow you to come in. ऐसा करके उसको continuously message आ रहा है.
See, I don't see anyone here because I accepted all of you just the way you came. So
Yeah,
Mataji
but
thing is
Prabhuji, this
not
is
coming.
this is what she's telling me. I really don't
What is-
understand.
Mataji, what is her email ID? Please tell me.
Email ID. 1 second. Please, can you hold 1 minute? 1 minute. Please wait. I will tell you in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
People can't see WhatsApp group. अभी मैं link भेजा. He's trying with some other link. Madhuri goes Mataji. I messaged also. Just look just above few messages backward. Link is there. I saw you. You just logged in, but you disconnected immediately.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Madhvi Gopi. The thing is Madhuri, Madhuri
Yeah.
SAGWEKAR at yahoo.co.uk. Should I repeat, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna not required. In the group
Should
only
I
just
repeat?
may send the message. Mataji, can you call her if you have her number? Otherwise you call from my mobile.
Should I repeat?
No, it's fine. Madhuri Sagwekar at yahoo.co.uk.
I can't hear you. You said what? I can't hear you. Madhuri SAGWEKAR at yahoo.co.uk.
Yeah.
Tell her
Prabhuji, is it
check,
clear?
look into the group and then log in.
It says we can't find any matches. Let her call again.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
leave it here. Here already
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are
okay,
coordinating
okay.
with her. You
Okay.
leave it. So please come to the Bhagavatam. Please come to Bhagavatam. So we are reading from verse number 17, I think. 1 second, I'll open that verse for you. See. It says that Deva Karmatma Shaktiman. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu manifested three energies: Deva Shakti, Karma Shakti, and Atma Shakti. The three energies. Deva Shakti represents all the living entities, Karma Shakti represents 10 pranas, and Atma Shakti represents three Shaktis: Adhyatma, Adibhuta, and Adideva. That's why it is mentioned as Ekada, Dashada, and Trida. So then it is mentioned that Sarvam Vishwasrujam Isho Vijnapitam Adokshaja Virajam Atapat Svena Tejasaivam Vivruttaye. Remembering the prayers offered by all the devatas, in order to provide suitable places for rendering service unto Supreme Lord, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu manifested the universal form.
ते म्हणतात तू गेस्ट वर केलंस का? ते म्हणतात आता इथे ते ह्याच्यामध्ये ब्रॅकेट मध्ये गेस्ट आलं होतं ना.
Hare Krishna, lecture is in progress. Kindly mute yourself. Give me mobile. And sometimes I get some. So Hare Krishna, I think everyone is here. So we'll go ahead. All of you are listening to me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So remembering the request of all the devatas, the elemental devatas, Lord manifested Virajam, means the universal form. So in that universal form, all these places manifested for them to engage in service. So that was their request. They want to do some service. So in the last week, from verse number, starting from verse number 11 all the way up to 26, we discussed about the manifestation of places for 14 senses, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, and 4 Antakaranas, Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chetana. And the 14 corresponding devatas, 5 Jnanendriyas, the corresponding devatas are Digdevatas, Sun, and Ashwini Kumaras, Varuna, Vayu, and then for 5 Karmendriyas, Indra, Agni, Vishnu, Daksha Prajapati, and Mrityu or Mitra. So they are the 5 devatas corresponding to Karmendriyas, and then the 4 devatas corresponding to Antakaranas or subtle senses, Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chetana. For mind, Chandra. For intelligence, Brahma. For Ahankara, Rudra or Lord Shiva. For Chetana, Lord Vishnu himself. So all those places have been created so that all these 14 devatas can engage in their respective services as a service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these verses talking about the manifestation of Atma Shakti. Out of the 3 energies, Deva Shakti, Karma Shakti, Atma Shakti, the 3 types of Atma Shaktis have been manifested in order to facilitate all these people service. Atma Shakti includes Adhyatma, Adibhuta, and Adidaiva. Adibhuta refers to the skinny portion of our body, that body which is made by the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas, earth, water, fire, ether. And the sensory mechanism that will take information from our gross skinny portion to the heart, the sensory mechanism is called Adhyatma, the subtle senses, whose function is under the protection of, under the supervision of the Devatas. They are called Adidaiva. And the 5 Jnanendriyas will acquire information from the external world. The information which they are gathering from the external world, the objects from which they are getting the information, they are called Tanmatras, 5 sense objects. The eyes get information from all the things around us, they are called forms, different forms. And tongue gets taste from all the foodstuffs. So taste is the sense object or Tanmatra for the tongue. So like that, these 5 things are there. In relation to Karmendriyas, the Karmendriyas will perform a particular action. The action itself is their object, but that they obtain. And then in relation to 4 Tanmatras, in relation to 4 Antakaranas, the planning, the analysis, and the contemplation, they are all the activities of these 4 internal senses. So that is mentioned in the verse number 23, 24, 25, 24 verses. They talk about the activities of these 4 Antakaranas. The Buddhi, the intelligence will try to gather knowledge about the things of this world. That is Bodhena. And both of them acquiring knowledge is the function of the intelligence. And in relation to mind, so it said that Manasamshena Vikriyam. Vikriya means mental activities like Sankalpa, Vikalpa, making plans. Like let me do this, let me not do this, let me get this, let me not get this. That kind of activities will be done by the mind. And in relation to Ahankara, it is said that Karmana and Kartavyam. Karmana means whatever activity that we perform, they are all in relation to our identity. Who we are, with what we identify ourselves in this world, that determines what activities we do in this world. So that's why it is said that Karmana Amshena Yena so Kartavyam Pratipadyate. The activity that is performed by the Ahankara is Kartavyam. We all feel a sense of responsibility towards our respective activities. That responsibility is the function of Ahankara. That is called Kartavyam. So this is a famous word in Telugu, Kartavyam. So then, lastly, from the Mahatattva, in relation to Mahatattva, that is called Sattvam, that is pure goodness, from which there appeared Mahan. The deity is Mahan, that Mahan refers to Vishnu. And the activity is Chitta, being conscious. About what? Vijnanam. Vijnanam refers to, here though it is translated as consciousness, but it always indicated in terms of Atma. Buddhi is the knowledge in relation to the material world, which is made up of 24 elements. And Vijnana, it is knowledge in relation to Atma and Paramatma, or about the transcendental world. So being conscious, that we are always conscious that I am existing. I am knowledgeable, I am this, I am that. This understanding is due to chitta. So thus these elements have been manifested one after the other. That is being indicated in this section of Bhagavatam. And now from verse number 27 to 29, these three verses talks about the manifestation of Deva Shakti. Deva Shakti is about the manifestation of all the variety of living entities. So now we have come to the verse number 27. शीर्ष्णोस्याद्योर्धरापद्भ्यां कम्नाभेर् उपपद्यते गुणानां वृत्तयो येषु प्रतीयन्ते सुरादया. Someone can read the translation.
Thereafter, from the head of the gigantic form, the heavenly planets were manifested, and from his legs, the earthly planets, and from his abdomen, the sky separately manifested themselves. Within them, the demigods and the others also were manifested in terms of the modes of material nature.
No, you are opening something else. You are not connected here. You are connected? Okay, you should be able to see. Shirshnosya Durdara Padhyam. No, you are not connected. You are opened last week class only.
I can hear you. Last week.
Last week also I only spoke. So sorry, some interruption. Shirshosna Durdara Padhyam. So now slowly Maitreya Muni is talking about the manifestation of the abodes for the different variety of living entities and their consciousness. Shirshno Asya Dur. From the head of the universal form, there appeared Swargaloka. Dhu means Swarga. And then Dara Padbyam. From the legs of the universal form, there manifested Dara. Dara means Bhuloka. Bhuloka appeared from the legs, and Swargaloka appeared from the head. Kham Naber Upapadyata. The ether or the sky, to be more precise, Antariksha or Bhuvarloka, that appeared from the abdomen or Nabi portion of the universal form. So the whole form of the universe, the universal form has been divided to three portions: the legs portion, abdomen portion, and then Nabi portion. So with respect to these three places, so the three lokas have been manifested. From the head, Swargaloka; from the feet, Bhuloka; from the Nabi portion, ether or Bhuvarloka. Gunanam Vrittayo Yeshu Pratiyante Suradaya. And these three abodes are distinguished based on three principal qualities. So what are the qualities will be mentioned in the next two verses. But every loka is predominated by one particular quality. And these places are exclusively dedicated for different variety of people. So one category people, according to the mode in which they are situated, these abodes have been allocated to them. So that is indicated in this verse. So three planetary systems have been manifested for three variety of living entities. So now next verse, it talks about who stays there. Atyantikena satvena divam deva prapedire daram raja swabhavena panayo ye cha tananu. So read the translation.
The demigods, qualified by the super excellent quality of the mode of goodness, are situated in the heavenly planets, whereas the human beings, because of their nature in the mode of passion, live on the earth in company with their subordinates.
Yeah. So here, this verse talks about the devatas and human beings. Atyantikena satvena divam deva prapedire. Because of the predominance of sattva among the devatas, they have been allocated the place known as divam or heavenly abodes. The heavenly abodes are predominated by sattva guna. So this was given to the devatas. And then dharam rajas svabhavena panayo yecha tan anu. So panayo means those living entities who accomplish all their activities with the help of their hands. Pani means hands. Those people accomplish all their activities required for their sustenance, maintenance, and emancipation for everything. The hands are the main instruments, and they are called Panayo. Panayo means human beings. For Devatas, if they think something, things will manifest. They don't have to work hard. But human beings need to work hard from the time of their birth till the death. Even for eating also they need to use their hands. Devatas, it is not required. If they contemplate, their stomach is full. So that's why human beings are called Panayo. And because they are predominated by Rajasvabhava, that is mode of passion, they were given the location known as Dara or Bhumandala. And then Echetan Anu. And they are inhabited along with those people who are helpful for their sustenance. To some extent, Devatas are self-sustainable. Just by drinking nectar, they become immortal. But for human beings, we need everyone. We need plants for sabji, fruits, flowers, etc. And we need animals for milk, ghee, and other products. And also many other things. Every animal has something to contribute to us. The goats and sheep will give us woolen coats and woolen rugs, etc. Everything has something to contribute to us. So whatever is required for sustenance, they are all living along with us on the surface of earth. So that is indicated here in this verse. So like the Devatas, because they are in the mode of goodness, they were given Swarga. The human beings, because they are in the mode of passion, they were given Dhara, the surface of the earth. So Srila Prabhupada writes, he explains the meaning of Atyantika. He gives some significance about Atyantika. The word Atyantika is very significant in this verse. By development of the mode of goodness of material nature, one can become situated in the heavenly planets. But by excessive development of mode of passion and ignorance, the human being indulges in killing the animals who are meant to be protected by the mankind. The animals are there along with us for our sustenance. So instead of looking after their well-being, we kill them and satisfy tongue pleasure. Persons who indulge in unnecessary animal killing have exclusively developed in the modes of passion and ignorance and have no hope of advancing in the mode of goodness. They are destined to be degraded to lower status of life. So this Prabhupada says. In the verse it says that human beings are given the surface of the earth along with the other living entities who are meant for their survival. Instead of looking after their well-being, we are killing them for our transient pleasures. So Prabhupada says they have no hope of perfection. And then in the last verse now, it talks about the living entities in the mode of ignorance. Tartiyena swabhavena bhagavannabhimashrita ubayorantaram vyoma ye rudra parshadam gana.
Living entities who are associates of Rudra develop in the third mode of material nature or ignorance. They are situated in the sky between the earthly planets and the heavenly planets.
Yeah. Tartiyena Swabhavena. Tartiyena Swabhavena means the third mode, which is not mentioned in the previous verse. Previous verse talked about goodness and passion. Now the third one is ignorance. Bhagavan Nabi Mashrita. The living entities who are in the mode of ignorance have taken shelter of Nabi portion of Bhagavan. That is Ubayor Antaram Vyoma, which is in between the two places which are described in the previous verse. That is Swarga and Bhuloka. That is called Bhuvarloka. And who are staying there? Ye Rudra Parshadam Gana. The Rudra Parshadas, the devotees are the followers of Rudra, Lord Shiva, are the residents of Bhuvarloka. Who stays there? Who are the followers of Rudra? Can somebody tell who are the followers of Rudra?
Ghost.
Bhutaganas.
Bhoot Pisach.
Or बस उतना ही भूत पिशाच. Bhuta, Preta, Pichas and other categories of witches and oblagoblins, and also Yakshas and Rakshasas. Yakshas, Rakshasas, Bhuta, Preta, Pichashas, all such living entities, they all stay in Bhuvarloka, which is predominated by mode of ignorance. Of course, Bhuvarloka is very big. These people are occupied only in the small portion of Bhuvarloka where mode of ignorance is prominent, and remaining portion of Bhuvarloka wherein mode of goodness is prominent. That place is occupied by Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, etc. They also live in the Bhuvarloka. But here Bhagavatam specifically talking about those people in the mode of ignorance, especially the Rudra Parshadas, the followers of Rudra, who are in the mode of ignorance. That is indicating Akshas, Rakshasas, Bhuta, Peta, Pishashas. And even those people who are not mentioned here, they are Asuras. So they generally stay in the lower 7 planets. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatal, Rasatal, Mahatal, Patal. These 7 places are meant for Asuras. They don't stay in Bhuvarloka. Though they are in mode of ignorance, they stay in the lower planetary systems. So they are not exclusively mentioned here in this section. So thus, 3 variety of living entities having the predominance of 3 different modes, they have been allocated 3 different places for their living. So this is about the description of Deva Shakti. Deva here, Deva refers to not Devatas, but Jiva. So all the variety of Jivas. And now, starting from verse number 30, all the way up to verse number 35 or 34, it talks about the manifestation of Karma Shaktis. Of course, these 3 variety of living entities who are in 3 different modes, the Devatas, human beings, and Aksharakshasas and Bhuta Prita Pishashas, they have varied type of activities. But Bhagavatam is being spoken to us, the human beings. So, the Karma Shakti or the type of activities the human beings perform on the surface of the earth is being discussed in the next 4-5 verses. Basically, the activities of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras have been discussed in relation to human beings, not in relation to the other 2 category of people, because we are not part of them. There is no need to talk about their activities. That is nowhere useful for us. So now verse number 30. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, is there the 4 divisions in the higher society and lower society among demigods and the Rakshasas also? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras?
Yeah, that's what we hear, na? Indra is a Kshatriya and Brihaspati is a Brahmana.
So
they may
also...
not be they may not be called the same kind of names. They may use some simple names.
So there are Vaishyas and Shudras also in the heavenly planets.
Hai na? Kuvera hai na, Vaishya.
Okay.
And everyone needs some attendance. If you have seen some drama or some movie, maybe in 1970s or 80s, so in the heaven, when Indra is there, 2 people are standing behind. They will be always doing chamara seva. And when they were going, some people will come with a big thali consisting of all the worshipful of paraphernalia. Or when they go to sit for accepting food, some people will come and serve them all the variety of food stuffs. They are all under the community of Shudra, we can take. So it's like that. So all these categories there, but they are called with different names, may not be the same names. These 4 names are specifically for our place.
They are also demigods, all those Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Shudras.
Sab devata log hai. Among devatas, there are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. One is ruling devata, other one is family member and other attendant, etc. etc. So, see here we call them Brahmanas. There they call them as Rishis, sages, Devarshi Narada, Devaguru, Brihaspati. So like that. They may not call them like Brahmanas, etc. They worship them as the Rishis and sages, etc. Sapta Rishis.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anyone else has any doubt?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Madhu.
Prabhuji, at one place I have seen in the purport only, I don't remember the exact purport number, that demigods are those who have intense devotion for the Lord, but they are not cleansed of their material desires. And other places it is written that they are the devotees and they are also cleansed of the material desires. That is why they have been given the position of ruling these places, different departments. So which one is means I was confused that which one is the right, means they are devotee, that is पक्का दोनों जगह पे है, but whether they are completely cleansed of their material desires or they are not, which one to take?
So I see. I don't know where Prabhupada is mentioned. Of course, Prabhupada is mentioned at many places. But my little understanding is the Devatas are devotees. So they have some desires. Okay, no problem. In comparison to our desires, their desires are pretty small. And Acharyas clearly confirmed that after the completion of their services for this one Manvantara period, they are all guaranteed to go back home back to Godhead. But we are not guaranteed ourselves.
Okay.
So,
That means maybe the trace of material desires will be there.
वो डिजायर भी भगवान को सेवा करने के लिए, इंदिरा बनकर सेवा करने के लिए, चंद्रा बनकर सेवा करने के लिए, वरुणा बनकर सेवा करने के लिए, कभी कभी इधर उधर थोड़ा गलती हो सकता है, भौतिक जगत में गलती होना मुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Yes.
Prabhuji, one question.
Yes.
We have heard that even the planetary system people have to come to the Bhuloka platform in order to go back home, back to God. And that is the reason they are actually envious of human beings. That is it said.
See, here Rajuna Prabhu
asking
Yeah, I'm there. They could answer. They could.
So Rajuna Shamprabhu is asking the question that they heard that Devatas, they'll come to earth in order to perfect their lives, and because of which they are envious of human beings, etc. But this is actually mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto only. The Devatas are actually offering prayers in the glorification of Bharata Varsha. They pray that if we have any piety left in our life, let us take birth on Bharata Varsha and attain perfection, etc. But try to understand that who are praying for what purpose. So in Devatas there are two categories. One is ruling Devatas. Second one is the citizens of heavenly abodes. The 3+ crore Devatas who are actually looking after the various management activities of the entire universe, they are all guaranteed to go back home back to Godhead. But the people by their piety who went to Swarga, who will again definitely come back after completing their piety, Shine Punya Martulakam Vishanti. So those people they pray that why we have come to Swarga anyway, one day we have to go back to Bharata Varsha. It is better let us go immediately and perform bhakti and go back home back to Godhead. So the prayers are offered by the citizens of heaven, not the Devatas of heaven. Because since they are living in the Devaloka, they are also called Devatas. But there are ruling Devatas who are the main Devatas. They are satisfied with their own service and they will anyway go back home back to Godhead after their tenure is completed. So in that way. They are envious, obviously everyone is envious. Any person in knowledge will be envious in the sense they are not negatively envious, they are always positively envious. So yes, it's so fortunate. So let us also become fortunate. Like that they are envious. It's not that why they are only fortunate, why not me? Not like that. So in that way we have to see. So I hope we'll go ahead. So now verse number 30. Mukato vartata brahma purushasya kurudvaha yastu mukatvad varnanam mukyo bhut brahmano guru.
O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of the Virata, the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are the natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society.
Yeah. So now Mukato here Brahma means the Vedas have 4 divisions: Samhitas, Aranyakas. So many times Vedic literature also called as Brahma. So first from the mouth of the universal form appeared the Vedas. Purushasya Kurudvaha. O king, O best of the among the Kurus, kindly understand that from the mouth of universal form appeared Vedas. Yes, then Unmukatvad Varnanam. Among all the 4 Varnas, those people who are favorably inclined towards studying, understanding, teaching, practicing of the Vedas. yastu unmukatvad to varnanam, among all the varnas, especially those people who are favorably inclined, who are always dedicated to read the Vedas, study the Vedas, understand the Vedas, teach the Vedas to others, follow the Vedas, they became mukhya. They became the leaders of the society. They became the prominent, matlab, they became the principal people among all the four varnas, and they are called as Brahmanu. And these people are called as Brahmanas, and they became guru of all other varnas. Mukhyo Brahmano Guru. They did not become mukhya because they are born in Brahmana family, but because of their activity of being inclined towards the study and teaching and practice of Vedas, that makes them mukhya, that makes them Brahmana, that makes them Guru. Not by birth, not simply their birth makes them mukhya or Brahmana or Guru. So this is one of the interesting thing. Unmukatvad. One favorable inclination makes a person what he is supposed to be. So this is being indicated in this verse. So this is about the Brahmanas. This is about the activity of the Brahmanas. Here specifically we are talking about Karma Shakti. What is the principal activity of the human beings on the surface of the earth, that is being indicated here. So Prabhupada writes in the middle of the purport. I am reading from somewhere in the middle of the purport. This most important part of the body of the Lord is called the sitting place of the Brahmanas. That is about the mouth of the universal form. This is the most important place in the body of the Supreme Lord. These Brahmanas are inclined to the Vedic wisdom. One who is not inclined to the Vedic wisdom, but only to mundane affairs, cannot be called as a Brahmana. Even if he is born of a Brahmana family or a Brahmana father. Just by being born in a Brahmana family or from a Brahmana father, one cannot become Brahmana. Who can become Brahmana? Who is favorably inclined towards Vedas. To have a Brahmana father does not qualify one as a Brahmana. The main qualification of a Brahmana is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. So this is the principal qualification to be called a Brahmana for any person. And then in the later next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, the real Brahmana is the natural teacher or spiritual master. The real Brahmana is the natural teacher or the spiritual master. Unless one has Vedic knowledge, one cannot become a spiritual master. The perfect knowledge of the Vedas is to know the Lord, the personality of Godhead, and that is the end of knowledge or Vedanta. As Lord Krishna indicated, Prabhupada actually explaining the meaning of the 15th chapter, 15th verse. Vedacha sarve ahameva vedyo. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this qualifies a person to be a Brahmana. So one who is conversant with Vedic wisdom is a Brahmana. And only a Brahmana who is a pure Vaishnava and knows all the intricacies of the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master. One who is a Brahmana and also knows the intricacies of the science of Krishna consciousness, about the essence of Krishna Tattva, they become a spiritual master. So there is a verse comes in Mahabharata. It says that Janmano Jayate Shudra. By birth, according to one's quality, one is of Shudra qualified, Shudra quality by birth. Samskaret Bhaved Vija. When the parents undertakes all the samskaras, all the way from Garbhadana samskara up to Vivaha samskara, the person becomes qualified to be known as twice born. And only a twice born person is qualified to read the Vedic literature. So when after taking Upanayana, when they with the proper qualification, when they go to Gurukul and study the Vedas, after the completion of their education, they become Vipra. Veda Part Abhyasayet Vipra. After completion of Vedic study, they will be known as Vipras. They will become knowledgeable of Vedic literature. They can pronounce, they can chant, they can perform all the Vedic rituals, etc. They are called Vipras. But among all those Vipras, Brahma Janati is Brahmana. Those who know the science of Supreme Absolute Truth, they are called Brahmanas. So there is a lot of difference between Vipra and Brahmana. Vipra may know the Vedas. Vipra may know how to perform Vedic rituals. Vipra may by heart all the Vedas. Vipra may pronounce very nicely. But if they don't understand who is the Absolute Truth, what is the real Tattva of Absolute Truth, they cannot be called as Brahmanas. Brahmana is one who knows. Brahma Janati is Brahmana. Those who know what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, and what is Bhagavan, they are supposed to be called as Brahmanas. And among all the Brahmanas, one who actually understands the superior position of Bhagavan, they are actually called as Vaishnavas. Those who are completely dedicated to the service of Bhagavan, they are called as Vaishnavas. So that is how the gradation has been indicated in the Vedic literature. So this is the activity of Brahmanas. They are dedicated to Vedic literature.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, 4 parts you said of the Vedas, Samhita, Aranyaka, and which are other 2? Voice cracked, so I couldn't hear.
Brahmanas and Upanishads.
Samhita,
Samhitas, Aranyakas, Brahmanas, and Upanishads.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Correct. Verse number 31.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, you just mentioned one thing that knowing absolute truth in Tattva, those are the people who are Brahmana, right? So what is it exactly to know the absolute truth in Tattva?
They should have understood Bhagavad Gita.
Any precise verse are you going to tell me from Bhagavad Gita that we can say that, oh, we know this Tattva, like, I mean, Tattva of absolute truth?
Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena tevaya upadekshantite jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. Of course, this is not the appropriate word the way you are asking.
This is like, okay, fine.
See, Bhagavad Gita. See, basically the proper understanding of what the Brahman is, who the Brahman is, who the Paramatma is, who the Bhagavan is. Of course, this verse, if you remember what we discussed in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Ajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatva Mam Shantim Ruchati. Jnatva Mam, one who understands me in truth, he becomes peaceful. So that is one verse you can look after.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Can we say Sarva Dharman Pratyaje?
No, that is tall order. That is for Vaishnavas.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Tomorrow we are going to discuss the verse from Bhagavad Gita, the last verses. Tomorrow is our last Bhagavad Gita class of Bhakti Shastri. We are going to discuss this verse. So basically the basic understanding of who the Brahman is, who the Paramatma is, who the Bhagavan is, that is about Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. Of course, generally people outside, they always explain this verse to be Brahman. They will only say Brahman. Those who understand about Brahman, they are called Brahmanas. But we as Vaishnavas, we should say that not only Brahman, they should also understand the knowledge of Paramatma and Bhagavan. They are actually called as true Brahmanas. Though they may be inclined to serve Brahman, that is okay, no problem, that is up to them. But they should have the knowledge of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And those who have complete knowledge of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, but they are attached to Brahman only, they are called Brahmavadis. They speak about Brahman only, always. Though they know about Paramatma and Bhagavan, they don't speak about Paramatma and Bhagavan as the supreme absolute truth. So that's how they are distinguished.
Prabhuji, that means there is difference between Brahmana and Brahmavadi?
No, I am saying the proper Vedic understanding of Brahmanas means Brahmavadis.
Means they know the absolute truth only at the level of Brahman.
No. They know the absolute truth, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. But they accept Brahman to be the supreme absolute truth. They are called Brahmavadis.
And Brahmana means, then what is the difference between Brahmavadi and Brahmana?
See, Brahmavadi is a philosophy. Just like we have Mayavada and Brahmavada, there are two variety of philosophies among Brahmanas, not Brahmana. Okay, Brahmanas, you can say two kinds of.
The thought process, that philosophy process we call Brahmavadi, and those who follow are Brahmanas.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Correct. See, Mayavadis only have understanding of Brahman. They negate the understanding of Paramatma and Bhagavan. But Brahmavadis, they accept the understanding of Paramatma and Bhagavan, but they serve only Brahman. So that's how these two are distinction. Even Mayavadis also know about Brahman, Brahmavis also know about Brahman. That's why both of them are called Brahmanas.
So in that way, Prabhuji, we see Mayavadi and Brahmavadi in both comparison. Mein Brahmavadis are in more problem, no? Because in spite of knowing, they are following only Brahma.
नहीं, they are no problem. अभी मैं आपको एक सवाल पूछता हूँ. You are from which state?
Maharashtra.
Okay. Which place you like, Pandharpur or Nasik or Kolhapur? Which holy place you want to go if you get time, if you get holiday?
Pandharpur.
Why?
Because attachment to Lord Vitthal.
क्यों? अब बहुत बार गया होगा ना उधर, इसलिए अटैचमेंट है. उतना ही है ना?
नहीं सुना है ना ज्यादा उनके बारे में, इसलिए.
हाँ वही है, जो भी है आप सुना है, नहीं तो गया होगा, इसलिए इसके ऊपर अटैचमेंट बढ़ गया. तो वैसे ही ब्रह्मवादी आर दोज who hear about Brahman more and Paramatma and Bhagavan less. They always heard from childhood that Brahman is superior, Brahman is superior. They naturally become that only.
Okay.
They are not problematic. They are actually genuine people. They accept Paramatma and Bhagavan, but they are genuinely attached to Brahman. They are happy. But Mayavadi say that Mayavada means the form of Bhagavan is made up of Maya. Mayavada Bhasha Shunle Hoi Sarvanash. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says.
Yeah.
So they are dangerous, not the Brahmavadis.
Okay.
Sukadeva Goswami is a Brahmavadi.
Okay. Was, matlab, earlier he was like.
Yeah, he was a Brahmavadi since till the time he heard Bhagavatam.
Okay, understood, Prabhuji. Very clearly understood. Thank you.
Okay, now okay. Bahubhyo vartata kshatram kshatriyastadanuvrata yo jatastrayate varnan paurusha kantakakshatat. Okay. Please, someone read the translation.
Thereafter, the power of protection was generated from the arms of the gigantic Virat form, and in relation to such power, the Kshatriyas also came into existence by following the Kshatriya principle of protecting society from the disturbance of thieves and miscreants.
So here next comes Bahubhyo. From the hands of Virat Rupa, there appeared Kshatram. Kshatram means the protective principle. The principle of protecting those who are in difficulties, the principle of punishing those who are causing atrocities upon others, etc. etc. Then, Tad Anuvrata, those people who follow this Kshatram principle, Kshatriya principle, appeared and they are called as Kshatriyas. Yo Jatas Trayate Varnam, and they are meant to protect other Varnas, other three Varnas. Paurusha Kantaka Kshatat. With the understanding that they are the protectors and they need to take care of the well-being of all the other three Varnas, they try to punish the pain inflictors and give shelter to the other three Varnas. So this is the principle of Kshatriya Dharma. So first appeared Kshatriya Dharma, then those people who could follow this principle, they are called as Kshatriyas, not just by being born in a Kshatriya family. Those who can follow, those who become Anuvrata, Kshatram Anuvrata, they are called Kshatriyas. So that is how we have to see this. So Prabhupada writes, the word Anuvrata is significant. A person who followed the Kshatriya principle by protecting society from thieves and miscreants is called a Kshatriya, not the one who is simply born as a Kshatriya. The conception of the caste system is always based on the quality and not on the qualification of birth. And then later on Prabhupada writes, according to Vedic civilization, a qualified Kshatriya or monarch, he is given the respect of the Lord because he represents the Lord by giving protection to the Prajas. The activity of Kshirodaksha Vishnu is maintenance, taking care of all the living entities, giving them protection. And that activity is performed by a king on the surface of the earth. So, generally in Sanskrit, a king is called Bhudeva or Naradeva, the Devata among human beings. So, he is given the same respect as that of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, because he is working on behalf of the Supreme Lord to protect the Varnashrama Dharma and help everyone to practice their respect to sadhanas and go back home back to Godhead. So this is one of the important activity of the Kshatriyas. Then the next verse talks about the Vaishyas. Vishovartanta tasyorvyor lokavrittikarirbho Vaishyastad udbhavo vartam nranam ya samavartaya.
The means of the livelihood of all persons, namely production of grains and the distribution to the prajas, was generated from the thighs of the Lord's gigantic form. The mercantile men who took charge of such execution are called Vaishyas.
So this is about Vaishyas. Visho, avartanta tasya orvyur. From the thighs of the universal form, there appeared the occupation known as Visho. Visho means the means of livelihood by production and distribution of food grains. And by taking care of the cows and distributing milk products. And by taking care of the money and distributing money whenever there is need. Krushi, Goraksha, Vanijyam. These are the three activities of the Vaishyas. One is producing grains and distributing grains. Second one is taking care of cows and distributing milk products. Third one is having money and giving money or lending money in need. Money. So these are the three principal activities of the Visha, the third category. Loka Vrittikari Vibho, for the maintenance of the people of this world. And in order to perform these activities, Vaishyas Tadutbhavo Vartam, in order to maintain these three kinds of activities, those people who are dedicated to take care of these three activities became known as Vaishyas. And for what purpose? Nunam ya samavartayet, for the purpose of the maintenance of all other people. If only when Vaishyas grow grains, only when Vaishyas grow milk products or cows and provide milk products, when they lend money only, all the other three varnas can function. Otherwise they cannot function. So they also have important role to play in the universal maintenance. And finally, the fourth category of people, the fourth category of the activity, the Brahmana activity, Kshatriya activity, Vaishya activity, and now the fourth activity is being mentioned in the next verse. Padbyam Bhagavato Jajne Sushrusha Dharma Siddhaye Tasyam Jata Pura Shudro Yad Vritya Tushyaye Hari.
Thereafter, service was manifested from the legs of the personality of Godhead for the sake of perfecting the religious functions. Situated on the legs are the Shudras who satisfy the Lord by service.
Yeah. One of the important principles Prabhupada talks about in the purport about the importance of service attitude. But let us see this verse. Padbyam Bhagavato Jajne. From the feet of universal form there appeared Sushrusha, the service attitude. For what purpose? Dharma Siddhaye. For the purpose of attaining perfection of one's Varnashrama Dharmas. And Sushrusha is meant for all the four Varnas. But this becomes the principal activity for Sudras. The service attitude is there in all the four Varnas. It is required for all the four Varnas. But this becomes the main activity for Shudras. So the predominant activity for the Shudras is Sushrusha. Tasyam Jata Pura Shudra Yad Vritya Tushyate Hari. And why this particular Sushrusha, the activity of service attitude, is very essential for all the four Varnas, because by this service attitude, one can actually please Hari very easily. Yad Vartya Tushyate Hari. One can please Lord Hari very easily. In the same Bhagavatam first canto, second chapter, there are verses spoken by Sutta Goswami about the importance of Varnashrama duties, how they should be rendered. That is mentioned there. The service attitude also is mentioned there. So that's how the activities of the four Varnas have been delineated. And people who are dedicated to these four kinds of activities became known as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, service is the real constitutional occupation for all living entities. The living entities are meant to render service to the Lord, and they can attain religious perfection by this service attitude. One cannot attain religious perfection simply by speculating to attain theoretical knowledge. So service attitude cannot come just like that, but one need to understand and dedicate to it. So Prabhupada later on in the purport writes, every living being, even if he is a Brahmana by qualification, must take to transcendental service of the Lord. Both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam support that the service attitude is the perfection of all living entity, perfection of the living entity. A Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra can perfect his occupational duties only by rendering service unto the Lord. A Brahmana is supposed to know that this fact due to his perfection in Vedic wisdom. The other sections are supposed to follow the directions of the Brahmana Vaishnava, one who is a Brahmana by qualification and a Vaishnava by action. That will make the entire society perfect in regard to the order of its social construction. So basically, Brahmanas are supposed to know about this principle of service attitude from reading the Vedas, and the other three Varnas, by hearing from Brahmana, they should understand about the importance of the service attitude and then implement in their life. A disordered society cannot satisfy either the members of the society or the Lord. Even if one is not a perfect Brahmana, or Kshatriya, or Vaishya, or Shudra, but takes to the service of the Lord, not caring for the perfection of his social position, he becomes a perfect human being simply by developing the attitude of service to the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada said that even one may not perform one's varnashram duties very carefully, but if they render service to Supreme Lord, devotional service, they attain perfection. So Prabhupada indicates that devotional service is more important than one's varnashram duties in that sense. So now the last verse, it talks about the concluding principle of these four varnashram duties. Concluding principle of varnashram duties. Ete varna swadharmena yajanti swagurum harim shraddayatma vishuddhyartam yajjata sahavrittibi.
All these people are born with their occupational duties and living conditions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, for unconditional life and self-realization, one has to worship the Supreme Lord under the direction of the spiritual master.
Yeah. So here this verse says that Ete varna, all these varnas, swadharmena, by executing their respective varnashrama duties, yajanti, they worship whom? Swagurum, their own guru. Who is that guru? Lord Hari. Lord Hari is the guru of every living entity because the Vedic literature are directly manifested from the mouth of Lord Hari, and the occupational duties of four varnas are also manifested from Lord Hari. So because of Hari only we are doing what we are doing. So that's why he is the guru of all of us. Shraddhaya Atma Vishuddhartham. For what purpose one should worship one's own guru? Atma Vishuddhi Artham, for the purpose of purification of one's own existence. How one should do this? Shraddhaya, with complete faith, not blindly. Yajjata Sahavrittibi. How? Along with their vrittis, who are born along with them. Because the duties of four varnas are born before the people, it is only by rendering one's duties one can attain perfection, one can attain the purification of one's existence. So for this purpose, all these things are created. Same thing Bhagavatam also mentions in the first canto that Ata Pumbir Dvesheshta Varnashrama Vivagasha Swa Anushritasya Dharmasya Samsiddhim Haritoshanam. One can attain perfection or purification of one's existence only when one can worship the Supreme Lord by executing one's varnashram duties for the pleasure of Lord Hari. Samsiddhim Haritoshanam. When one can satisfy Lord Hari by the execution of one's varnashram duties, then one's existence can be purified. So that is being indicated here. Otherwise, all one's execution of varnashram duties will be Shramayavai Kevalam. So it is said that Dharma Swanushrita Pumsha Vishwakhena Kadasuya Na Utpadaya Tediratim Shramayavai Kevalam. When we execute our duties, if they are not bringing love of Godhead within our consciousness, then all those duties are simply waste of time. So that's how the first canto only it is indicated. Because the duties are given by Lord, our identity is given by Lord. For what purpose? To live happily here and after this lifetime go back to Godhead by rendering our duties honestly. So that is understanding. So now, this is the concluding verse of the description of universal form. Whatever the verse with verse number 7 started the description. Now here is concluding, saying the same thing whatever mentioned there. Ete kshetter bhagavato daiva karmatma rupina kha shraddha danaya upakartum yoga maya balodayam.
O Vidura, who can estimate or measure the transcendental time, work, and potency of the gigantic form manufactured by the internal potential of the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
So he said that this universal form consisting of 3 rupas, Daiva Rupa, Karma Rupa, Atma Rupa, that which has been described in the previous verses. Ka Shraddha Daya Dupakartum Yogamaya Balodayam. It is a manifestation of Lord's Yogamaya potency. And then, which faithful person can describe it completely? Because this is not manifestation of some ordinary human being. It is not the manifestation of a material energy, a material product. It is manifestation of Supreme Lord's Yogamaya potency. So who can describe it completely? So no one can describe completely. So I have described very briefly, talking about 3 principal aspects of this universal form, about Daiva Rupa, Karma Rupa and Atma Rupa. And then now he says that this is the one of the important verse. The next verse is, why is only speaking this much only a brief description. Tatapi kirtayamyanga yata mati yata shrutam kirtim hare swami satkartum giram anyabidasatim.
In spite of my inability, whatever I have been able to hear from the spiritual master and whatever I could assimilate, I am now describing in glorification of the Lord by pure speech, for otherwise my power of speaking would remain unchaste.
Yeah. So here, why is only speaking little bit about the description of universal form? Maitreya Muni says, Tatapi kirtayami anga, my dear son, my dear Vidura. Tatapi kirtayami. Thus I have described the glorious universal form. Yatamati yatashrutam. Yatashrutam. As per what I have heard from my gurus, the guru of Maitreya was, what was his name? Parashara. He heard from his guru known as Parashara, who is the father of Vyasadeva. Yata Shrutam, the way I have heard from my guru, and Yatamati, to the extent I have understood from what I have heard from my guru, I have spoken to you. Why? Because I have spoken to you about Lord Vishnu's manifestation of universal form. Kirtim Hare Swam Satkartum Giram Anyabida Satim. Giram Satkartum. The best activity or the most auspicious activity for the words or for the mouth is Kirtim Hare Swam. Glorification of Lord Hari. Glorification of Lord Hari. Generally, the activity of the mouth is to speak. But when the mouth does the glorification of Lord Hari's wonderful activities, that activity becomes Satkarma, Satkartum. That person becomes the doer of wonderful activity. Anya Abida Asatim. Otherwise, talking about any other thing with one's mouth, that makes one unchaste in this world. That activity becomes Asatkritam for that person. So in order to purify the activity of my mouth, I have been describing the glorious form of Lord's universal form till now. So this is one of the important principles which Maitreya Muni establishes here. He again further develops on this theme in the next verse. Next verse he actually goes into more details. But before that, if you remember in the second canto, we have elaborated as an answer to Parishit Maharaj, when Parishit Maharaj asked that what I am supposed to hear, what I am supposed to glorify, and whom I am supposed to worship, etc. In that regard, Sukadeva Goswami says at the beginning of second canto, in the second verse, Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nunam Santi Sahasrasha Apashyatam Atmatattvam Gruheshu Gruhamedinam. Those people who are not at all interested in Atma Tattva, understanding about science of civilization, who are indifferent to the spiritual understanding, they have thousands of subject matters to discuss in this world. Their mouth will never speak about Krishna Katha. So that kind of activities are called Asatkrutam. But when mouth speaks about Lord Krishna, that becomes Satkrutam. The same thing the sages of Naimisharanya also indicate in 3rd chapter of the 2nd canto. Bile bato rukrama vikramanye na shrunvato karnaputeshu karnapute narasya jivva sati dar durikeva suta nochapa gayati urugaya gata. He says that jivva asati dar durikeva suta na upagayati urugaya gata. When the tongue does not speak about the gata of Urugaya, Lord Vishnu, that tongue becomes asati, unchaste, like Dardurikeva, like a frog. During the rainy season, when frog starts making barking sound, it only invites Kalasarpa. Same way, when a person throughout one's life only engaged in speaking all mundane subject matter, they are simply inviting Kalasarpa, known as death. Otherwise, for a devotee, while living in this body, he speaks Krishna Katha. After getting into another body, he speaks Krishna Katha. Even after going to spiritual world, he speaks Krishna Katha. For him, time has no effect. Ayur arati vaipumsha mudyan nasau chayan nasau. Tasyarte vaito nita uttama shloka vartayat. Those people whose tongue is always engaged in describing the news of Uttama Shloka, Lord Vishnu. Every rising and setting of sun does not deplete a day in their life. The time going does not have any influence in their life. So that is the understanding. So this is the glory of describing the glories of Lord Krishna. So that makes the activity of the mouth, the activity of the tongue as pious activity. Sat kartum, sat karya. So now, here Prabhupada writes, the purification of the conditioned soul necessitates purification of his consciousness. So our purification depends upon purification of our consciousness. That is possible by purifying all our 14 senses. The leader of the 14 senses is our Chetana, our consciousness. So consciousness is purified only when all the remaining 13 senses are purified. Because that is the consciousness subtlemost thing. So for us to go to the point of consciousness, we need to gradually purify all the outward senses one by one. So that is how it is indicated. So what is the importance? What is the necessity of purifying all these 14 senses? One should go to all the way up to consciousness, purifying consciousness. As we sing every day morning, Chetu Darpana Marjanam, that Cheta refers to consciousness. That Maitreya Rishi describes in the next verse. Ekantalabam vachaso nupumsham shushlokamauler gunavadamaho Shrutesha vidbadbirupakritayam kata sudayam upasamprayogam.
The highest perfectional gain of humanity is to engage in discussions of the activities and glories of the pious actor. Such activities are so nicely arranged in writings by greatly learned sages that the actual purpose of the ear is served just by being near them.
So here he says that Ekantalabam vachasonu pumsham. Pumsham means for the living entities of this world. Vachaso, in relation to words. Ekantalabam, the only benefit one should look after, the most attainable benefit in relation to words is Shushloka Mauler Gunavadamahu, or it can be obtained only when one engages one's words in glorification of Shushloka Mauli. That Supreme Lord who is glorified by wonderful poetry. Sushloka, Gunavadamahu. So by chanting Sushloka, wonderful shlokas, when we describe the qualities of the Supreme Lord, Mauli, then the words will attain their highest perfection. The Ekanta Labam, the one and only one benefit we should anticipate after, we should aspire for, can be obtained by glorifying Lord's wonderful glories. And then, this is about mouth, then about ears. Shrutescha, and about ears, Kata Sudayam Upasamprayogam. When the ears get to hear the wonderful Krishna Katha again and again, the ears attain their perfection. And who says this? Vidbadbir Upakritayam. The highly knowledgeable people have declared it. They have spoken about it. They have established it. The only way our tongue can become perfected by chanting Krishna Katha. The only way our ears can become perfected by hearing Krishna Katha. And Cha says that similarly, the only way our eyes can become perfected by looking at the forms of Supreme Lord or devotees. Like that, all the 14 senses can be purified only when they are engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. So this is the understanding. The Ekanta Labham, the most aspiring goal one can obtain, the most aspiring destination one can obtain is when we engage all these 14 senses in the service of Supreme Lord. So here Maitreya says about 2 senses, and we can extrapolate the same thing for the 14 senses. So with that understanding, Maitreya says that only for the purpose of purifying my existence, Atma Vishuddhartham, I am engaged in glorifying this form of the Supreme Lord. And you are engaging your hearing faculty in hearing Krishna Katha. Similarly, when we engage all other senses, we become purified completely. So, because this chapter talks about the manifestations of all the senses, how these senses can be obtained perfection is by this verse it is mentioned. Hope all of you are able to follow this.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So we just have 3 more verses concluding section. So we do three verses and then we'll go ahead with the next section. Atmano vasito vasta mahima kavinadina samvatsara sahasrante diya yoga vipakkaya.
O my son, the original poet Brahma, after mature meditation for 1,000 years, should know only that the glories of the Supreme Soul are inconceivable.
Yeah, it says that if you remember the first verse of Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hoye Dudaya Adi Kavaye. The same thing comes here. Kavi Nadina. Adi Kavi, Kavi Adina. So even Lord Brahma also, Atmano Mahima, in order to understand the greatness of the Supreme Lord, here Atma refers to Supreme Lord, Atmano Mahima, Avasito Vasta, my dear son, Samvatsara Sahasrante, Diya Yoga Vipakaya. Even Lord Brahma could not come to a proper conclusion that about the glories of Lord, Supreme Lord, even after performing severe austerities for 1000 celestial years. Samvatsara Sahasrante. Even at the end of that also, Lord Brahma could not come to proper understanding of Supreme Lord. What he understood is, Lord's glories are unlimited, Lord's glories are inconceivable. One cannot understand them completely. What one can understand is, as much as one can endeavor to understand, as much as one's capacity to understand, only that much will be revealed by Lord's mercy. So this is the understanding of Lord Brahma after performing Diya Yoga for 1000 celestial years. Then what to speak of me in relation to Lord Brahma? If Lord Brahma cannot understand of Supreme Lord, how can I understand? Or what can I understand? So what I have heard from my Guru may be more, but from that what I have understood is small. And that I have described to you. And even that also is sufficient for purifying my sense of speaking. So like that it says. And the next verse he goes more one step ahead. Even Lord himself cannot understand about himself. Then what to speak of Brahma? That's what he says. Aho ato bhagavato maya mayinam api mohini yasvayam chatma vartatma naveda kim mutapare. Hare Krishna.
The wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. The potential power is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord, so it is certainly unknown to others.
Here one interesting concept is mentioned that Yat Swayam Chatma Vartatma Naveda Ki Mutapare. Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself cannot understand about himself, about his complete existence. Then what to speak of the materialistic people who say that I know everything. I know what Bhagavan is, what this, what that, what this. Because Mayina Mapi Mohini. Those people who say that I know everything about the Supreme Lord, they are actually Mayina Mapi Mohini. They are completely bewildered by Maya. Only by the bewilderment of Maya, they say, I know this, I know that, I know this. But otherwise, who actually understand that Lord is unlimited, they will always say, I cannot ever understand about the Supreme Lord. There is a wonderful phrase which is mentioned in Kena Upanishad. It says that, Yasya matam tasya matam, matam yasya na vedasa. It says that, Yasya a matam tasya matam. Those who say that I don't know about the Supreme Lord, Yasya amatam tasya matam. Upanishad that they know actually about the Supreme Lord. Maybe to a small extent, but still they know. Only those who know that I don't know about the Lord, they know. But matam yasya na vedasa. But those who say that I know about the Lord, na veda, they will never know. They don't know anything about the Lord. So this is a phrase from Kena Upanishad. So here Lord himself does not know, then what others will know? So those people who say that I know, they are all simply bewildered by Maya. And the last verse, Yeto prapyanya vartanta vachascha manasa saha aham chanya ime devas tasmai bhagavate namaha.
Words, mind, and ego, with their respective controlling demigods, have failed to achieve success in knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, we simply have to offer our respectful obeisances unto Him as a matter of sanity.
Yeah, it says that with the abilities of our mind, words, and all other faculties of our senses, aham refers to here aham refers to Lord Shiva, and which is Maitreya already spoke about Lord Brahma. So after Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, cha anya devata, all the other devatas. Lord Brahma cannot know about Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva cannot know about Supreme Lord, and all the other devatas about whom the description was mentioned in the previous chapter, in the previous verses, they cannot understand about Supreme Lord. Then who am I to understand about the Supreme Lord? What is the audacity in me to say that I can know about the Supreme Lord? So what we can do is Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha. Let me offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Lord is so great, we can never understand about Him, cannot understand about His glorious position. What we can do is only simply offer our obeisances. So this is how Maitreya Muni completed the description of the universal form to Vidura. So thus we have completed chapter 6. If some of you have any queries, questions, we'll quickly take 2 questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
So Vidura is also called as Shattar. I mean, what is the meaning of Shattar?
वो मुझे पता नहीं प्रभु जी, महाभारत पढ़ना पड़ेगा. What is the meaning of Shatta? Something related to his parents or something like that could be there.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, in the verse, exactly, just a minute, I'm searching the verse where it says that Brahmana by qualification and Vaishnava by action. So I was confused, like, by qualification, Vaishnava is also by qualification one becomes Vaishnava. So means I didn't understand how to understand that sentence.
Brahmana by qualification. What is the qualification of Brahmana? Brahma Janati iti Brahmana.
Yes.
Okay. And Vaishnava by action.
Yeah.
What kind of action makes a person Vaishnava?
Serving the Lord Vishnu.
Not only serving. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So executing in these 9 activities makes a person Vaishnava.
Okay.
So if we don't perform all these activities, simply saying that I am Vaishnava, we not become Vaishnava. When we do all these activities, then we become Vaishnavas.
Okay, so only philosophical understanding will not make one Vaishnava, even if one.
Yes,
if he has to put that in the action, then it could.
Yes, that's why Narada Muni says in Narada Bhakti Sutra, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Sarvopadi Vinirmukta. Keeping all our upadis, that I am Brahmana, I am Vaishya, I am Shudra, I am Kshatriya, keeping them aside, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruttamam. When one engages all one's 14 senses in the service of Lord Rishikesha, that makes a person Vaishnava, that makes a person devotee.
Okay. And one more thing was, Prabhuji, in the 37th verse translation, no, the last line, it says that such activities are so nicely arranged in writing by the greatly learned sages that the actual purpose of the ear is served just by being near them. So I was a bit confused, like, means ear generally we say by hearing them, it could have been, but it says that by just being near them. So how we understand that?
See, Mataji, hearing means, can you hear from Rupa Goswami?
No.
Nahi, why? If by reading Bhaktivedanta you can hear from him.
Yeah, that way, yes.
That I simply said that Vidbadbir Upakritayam, having been described by the great learned sages. So they have told means that is meant to be heard by us. If the person is there in front of us, we can hear from them. Otherwise, we have to read their books. So one of these, Upakritayam, Krita means writing. So Prabhupada takes writing into consideration. I have mentioned about speaking. That is the only difference.
Okay. Thank you.
Because they have written all the books. Study the books. ऐसा प्रभुपाद बोल रहे हैं. पुस्तक पढ़ो, समझ में आएगा.
So either by hearing or so in any way you should come in contact with that. Come, go near that thing. That's what.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, bro.
Hare Krishna. What about others?
Prabhuji, one or two doubts from the last times portion is there. Should I ask now or after the class ending?
After we'll take. I think.
Okay.
In the beginning we have taken a lot of time, so we are already late.
Yeah.
So we'll take 2 minutes break now, and I request Vinit Prabhu and Rishikesh Prabhu. Who want to speak first? Rishikesh Prabhu, you are ready to speak?